Consumer spending is up. In April, consumer spending was up more than 1%, the biggest monthly increase since 2009 when the Cash for Clunkers program first kicked in. That surprised a lot of people because the retail numbers that we saw in the first quarter for companies like Macy's and Kohl's were terrible, and you had other big retailers like Aéropostale and Sports Authority file for bankruptcy. So how do you explain this contradiction? First of all, Amazon.com is now a dominant force in retailing. That's not captured by US government data, and it's certainly not being captured by the retailers themselves. They're losing market share to Amazon.com. Second, millennials especially prefer experiences over stuff. They'll spend money on a vacation or going out to a restaurant or a bar or to a concert or going to Coachella, something like that, as opposed to going to the mall and spending their money there. There's just a sense that we have enough stuff and we want to have fun, we want to have experiences instead. And then finally, consumers, where they're spending money on big ticket items. Durable goods sales were up strongly in April. That's stuff like cars and refrigerators and houses. The housing market is very strong in most of this country right now. Home prices are back to near peak levels from 2006, from the peak of the housing bubble. It was a long way down and it's been a long way back, but we're almost there. So that tells you that consumers are confident, they're just spending money differently than they have in the past. Look, there's a lot of economic anxiety out there, and you're certainly seeing it on the campaign trail. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders particularly are benefiting from it. But the reality is consumers are actually in a lot better shape now than they were certainly 10 years ago. Consumer debt levels have come way down. The unemployment rate is around 5%. And wages are up. They're not up a ton, but they're up about 1.5%. And disposable income, which is money after taxes, is up over 3% from a year ago. So consumers aren't flush, but people who have jobs are definitely feeling more confident and are more willing to spend. And again, they're willing to spend more on big ticket items. So it's not a bull market, it's not a bear market, it's a rabbit market. That's according to Jim Paulson at Wells Capital Management. And what that means is you have a market that's running around from one place to another. It's very skittish, and you could say the same thing about the economy. We've been going up in fits and starts for the last 7 years, really. And it doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere, but we are slowly making progress. Now, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but I think it's pretty clear that this market and this economy have a severe case of rabbititis.
Everybody out there's got rabbititis!
So what's the takeaway for investors in a market that's kind of like a cartoon? Well, first of all, it's pretty clear that the old playbook isn't working, especially when it comes to retail stocks. That's a big reason why you have some of the smartest investors in the world, the hedge fund billionaires. They've been struggling for the last couple of years. And it's a big reason why retail investors have been hesitant to put a lot of money into this market, even when it's not far from all-time highs. There's no sin in playing it safe when the market doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. One thing that does make sense right here are dividend-paying stocks. And if you take a look, the Dow Utility Index is up about 14% year to date. It's doing a whole lot better than the NASDAQ, than the S&P 500, than the Dow Industrials, than the S&P Midcap Index, than small caps, and pretty much any other stock index you can think of. That's something that does make sense in a market and an economy that doesn't make a whole lot of sense anywhere else.